need somebody to hold this for me, because I am not very good at it. Hi everybody. I guess I should edit that first part. I'm Shannon, and I'm actually coming at you from a barrel race in Brazil. There's the arena behind me. Nice arena, simple, very much like the ones you'd see in America when I was there living in northeastern Oklahoma. Pretty big though, it's still over 300 feet long and about, if I did my conversion correct, it's 150 wide, because here everything is in meters. I am now the conversion queen. So I am appalled at all of the questions and the responses from Sydney's record. Before I get to the questions, and I'm probably going to do several little videos about each topic, let's just say that Sydney is a phenomenal person. I mean, he wins on every horse, and he works hard. He deserves this. You can critique it or love it, but if you were here watching him, you would be in amazement. So first, what I want to talk about are what some people said, like bits and saddle, or bits and tack. That was kind of the first question somebody mentioned. Most riders here use snaffles and tie downs. They can use smooth or twisted wire. The ABQM is what sanctions us. Almost all the shows, almost all. More than 90% of the shows are approved and sanctioned by the ABQM, which is like the AQHA of America. So there are rules. We have to follow rules. For example, we cannot use chain curb straps. Okay, we have to use regular curb straps. They have to be double chain. The chain has to be flat. Oh, here in a minute. Let me go see if I can find one so I can show you. And you have to have one. You cannot run without a curb strap. After you run your race, the judge, at every race, even rodeos, the judge checks your horse for blood on the bit. If there's any blood on the bit, oh, my truck is closed. That's the truck. If there's any blood on the bit, then you're disqualified. So here in a minute, I'll show you the curb straps that we have to use. Our curb straps have to be leather or nylon as far as like attaching to the bit. You cannot have chain on chain. So the bottom parts of our curb straps are chain, but the part attaching to the bit has to be leather or nylon. And like I said, you can't go without a curb strap. It's a little bit like communism, I think, but that's the rules, so I follow them. So a lot of people do use some lifter bits and some longer shanked bits. What I've noticed overall is Brazilian horses are really, really, really broke. So you don't need a lot of bit with them. I learned when I first came here that my horses weren't broke enough. So that's one thing that I've learned here, is to get my horses better broke and more responsive. But the majority of everybody here is snaffles and tie downs, little arenas or big arenas. I use a lot the Simplicity bit and the short shank Ed Wright 3-piece bit. Those are probably my two favorites. I'm not very good in a snaffle. I feel like the horse is a little too pushy on my hands. But I have, since I've moved here, really lightened up on bits. I have a barn full, a tack room there full of long shank bits that I need to sell or give away because I just don't need them anymore. But like I said, and there's two bits here that are Brazilian bits. One is like a Simplicity bit, and the other one I call the Hot Shot Shady bit. It's a horse I had, and I actually designed the bit, and my friend made it for me, a Protec horse. And when my worker gets here, I'll give you a picture of the bits. He's coming now. He went to go get the horses. So that's bits. As far as saddles go, I know there's been a lot of talk about, in the United States, about neoprene saddles, Brazilian saddle, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to give you my opinion. You can agree with it, not agree with it. A lot of guys use them. The one they use the most is the Protec Saddle. It's a simple saddle. It's not an expensive saddle. This is a neoprene. Protec is by far the most sold saddle here in Brazil. Then you have the Protec Saddle, which was designed by Protec Horse. It's also a neoprene saddle, but it has a little higher back, a little higher horn. It's kind of made more for to train in, or for us girls, or maybe for a little bit fluffy, feel a little comfortable in a saddle with more back. Protec also has a really nice leather saddle. I have one. I really like it. I also have a Double J Posi Pro so I use those two saddles mainly. And a lot of girls here have to use the leather saddles because of weight, which we'll get into later. But like I said, the #1 saddle is by far the Protec Saddle. Oh, here comes those are two of my horses, and this is my worker. His name is Pança. Não pode guardar. Você pode pegar os freios rapidinho, por favor? I asked him to get the bits so I can show you the bits. These two horses here, so I will go about this later too, if you can see them. Sorry, I'm not good at this. The little gray, she is 2.5. We start them here a year younger. I'm not saying it's the greatest thing to do, but we do it. The roan horse, she will be 4 in December, and she's Fatruti this year. So we start our horses. Our horses are born July 1st to June 31st, kind of like your January 1st to December 31st. And that reason is because we are in the southern hemisphere. So we are actually finishing winter, going into spring, while you guys are in summer, going into fall. So our horses are born from July to December, is usually pretty good. We say that they're not born good when they're born after December. So like the little gray horse and the stud colt that we'll bring out, they were born in February and March, so they're a lot younger than a lot of the other horses. So I won't push them like some of the other guys. I'm training them for other people to ride, not to win races. But anyway, so that just talks about a little bit about the ages of the horses, why we run them a little younger. I guess I can call this part bits and the ages. Here it's a big business, horses, horse racing. It's a lot like horse racing in the United States. The committee here, and I'm actually on the committee with the ABQM for barrel racing, we tried to get them to move the horses to 1 year older to start. We all kind of agree that would be better. But when it went up to the big overall committee, it was turned down. Because here the big breeding farms, if they decide that we're going to run the horses, 4 come in 5 like in the States instead of 3 come in 4, that's 1 more year that the breeders think they need to hang on to them, and then that's more money they need to spend. That is also my opinion. Not something that somebody actually said to me, but it was turned down. We've tried to pass that rule a couple of times to move the ages of the horses up, but it's not working. But we're still trying. So also, like I told you before, the ABQM runs things here. So almost all of our shows, except rodeos, are ran like an AQHA show. So we have what we call the Open Junior, the Open Senior. We have a Professional Light, which is for professionals that have less than 100 points. Your Open Senior, Open Junior are horses' ages. The Open Junior is for horses 5 and under, and the Open Senior is for horses 6 and up. We also have a female class where girls can ride. Here in Brazil, there's just a handful of female trainers. Really, that actually train is very, very few. There are several girls who run, but they have a trainer that trains their horse for them. What other classes do we have? We have a gelding class because they're trying to promote geldings here, and that's pretty nice. What other classes? We have what we call a chiratema. That is like your typical open 4D. Anybody, any horse, anybody can run. And they do pay in the Ds. It's usually one of the only classes that has Ds, although most races on the Open Junior, Open Senior, these classes, official classes, they usually have at least 2 Ds. So that's nice because running against Sydney, I need the Ds, really need the Ds. They have also amateur classes, amateur light for amateur people who don't have 100 points. They have amador principiantes, amateur principiante, which would be like a novice amateur. But once you get that, you can only get 15 points. So the classes, they have several classes here. So that's why you see the horses run more than 1 time a day. For example, if I was, most trainers, they'll run the horse in the Open Junior, Open Senior, the Professional Light, and then the owner of the horse will run them, sorry, then the owners or the children of the owners will run them in the amateur light, the female class, and so on. But anybody can ride in the chiratema. The rollover idea has just came to Brazil. There are a few races that offer the rollover to the chiratema from the chiratema. For example, if I run in the Open Senior or the female class, I can have the option to roll my time over to the chiratema, the Open 4D. So that's just a little bit. I'll get back to more questions later. I need to ride some horses, and I'll talk a little bit more about the transport and show you guys inside the arena. So that's pretty much it for bits and saddles and how the classes are ran. So hope you learned something, and I'll be back in a little bit.